Hello, hello, Natalie.
Hello. Thank you
How
for
are
the
you?
invitation.
Absolutely.
I'm well. How are you, Cecilio?
Oh, it's a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday.
Yes.
Beautiful Wednesday. Folks are just now filing in. I see people. Brian, how are you, Brian?
Hey, what's up, man? I'm good right here. Just about to get on the road.
Okay, okay. Yeah, listen in. Be safe. Be safe. No
Yes,
video.
sir.
All right, well, Natalie, you are up first. I've
Oh,
got three people that were on, and somehow Zoom knocked them out, so I think they'll be joining. So it'll be five of us, and there may be a few others. I see some more registrants, but we never get as many people to join as the register. So I'll assume we'll have five of us today, so we can focus on you. How are things going?
oh wow. Well, things are going well. I got my PMP credential back in March,
Nice.
and then I got a job as Director of Operations and Strategy, which is kind of a track I was already on in a nonprofit.
Uh huh.
And just recently, I left my job and am doing a data analytics and visualization course and really focusing on breaking into project management in the tech sector. So
Okay.
I actually have an interview coming up soon. It's the second round of interviews with Scale AI. So it's machine learning.
Uh huh.
It's kind of out of my league. It's super high tech. And I'm about to have to do a project management problem solving exercise. And I just got this invitation from you, and I thought, oh, well, maybe I'll check in with Cecilio and see if he has any advice.
Absolutely. Well, let's see. Well, so first of all, congratulations. I mean, you are a mover and a shaker. I love it. I absolutely love it. Let's dig right in. Okay. So
Okay.
you have this interview coming up, and it's an
Yes.
artificial intelligence scene.
Yes.
But do you know exactly what kind of projects that you will be running?
No, I haven't received any information about what kind of projects I'll be running. I know well, I can say it's an operations project management role.
Uh huh.
So I think it will be kind of cross sector.
Okay.
And I know that this company specializes in data annotation for machine learning. So they have a whole body of humans across the world annotating visuals uh, for the main goal of teaching machines. So that's all I know. They haven't given
That's
me
all
a
you
whole lot
know.
of information. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because I mean, projects range from operational projects all
Yeah.
the way into capital projects and everywhere in between. What other research have you done on this company that you can know, like what kind of questions do you think are coming, or what's the best way I can help you?
Well, I'm I have never been a formal project manager. So I think the kind of projects that might be coming in this organization kind of have to do with maybe scaling the organization because currently there are only 150 employees
Uh huh.
and they just received another round of giant funding and they're kind of like the hot thing right now, Scale AI. So I think it's going to continue to grow. And I can tell by the interview process that it's still operationally speaking very rough. There are no
Ah, I see.
systems. So I believe it'll be operations and systems projects.
Okay.
So I don't even know specifically what to ask. It's going to be, they said the tenor of the 45-minute exercise will revolve around problem solving.
Okay. Well, I will tell you, as project managers, that's a little bit of what we do. We solve problems between people usually, right? We like the title project manager is kind of a misnomer because in the end, what we're really doing is we're managing people, and what we're doing is we're getting them to do what they're already paid to do. Tell you the truth, but we're getting them to do it in a manner that a incredibly smart people sometimes will get in their own way in terms of if you allow them all day to research, they will. Why? Because they're smart and they love knowledge, and that's what they'll do. So you got to kind of help them, lay the tracks, so to speak, so that they can drive the train. You can't lay the tracks too far down the road, or else you'll kind of dictate where they're going to go. But if you
Okay.
don't lay the tracks, then they won't have anywhere to go. So that's kind of what project management is. It's being a little bit ahead of your team, being able to kind of peek around the corner and see the potential problems, and then go back to your team and ask them the questions that need to be asked that allow them to either A, see that there's going to be a potential problem, or B, recognize that that problem is there and say, oh, okay, I better figure out a path to to not have this happen. So let's um, let's talk about scaling. If you have this 45-minute exercise and it's around problem solving and it's around scaling, what do you know about scaling an organization?
Well, at Counterpulse, where I was the director of operations, we
Mm-hmm.
went from being a very grassroots organization to buying a $6 million brick and mortar, and then all of a sudden being the stewards of a large facility in the Tenderloin. So we scaled our financial systems, we scaled operations, we scaled fundraising, incorporating new sophisticated tools like Salesforce,
Uh huh.
ERM kind of implementation of new communication tools, project management tools, implementation of new financial systems is something that I recently worked on at the day home. They were a 100-year-old organization, but they didn't have any systems. So I kind of laid the groundwork for the fundamentals, for the financial systems, project management systems, and development philanthropy systems. So I have a good amount of experience kind of establishing a good baseline, but I'm intimidated by this notion of the high tech environment and by I guess the volume of the scale. So where they're talking big money, and I've never worked with big money. So
Okay. Okay. Well, little money. I'll say this: little money, big money. It is all the same. Um,
okay,
because little money scaling, big money scaling, the processes are the same. It's just that you might do more of it, or you might take longer to do it. So, um, you may get some questions centered around, how would you start? How would you start this? Like if they just said, "Hey, Natalie, come in and scale our project or our
yeah.
company." How would what And that's likely a question that you may be posed with. What's one of the first things that you would do if we were to come into our company and we were to hire you
Mhm.
as a project manager and we would ask you to scale? Tell us what's the first thing that you would do, Natalie.
Well, I would kind of take an inventory of the landscape. I would try and identify some of the root pain points where what systems actually aren't working, what kind of work is getting duplicated, what is the capacity of the team, where are we being kind of over exhausted, where we may not be utilizing some of our stakeholders to
Uh
their
huh.
fullest abilities. I would ask what tools are we currently using so I can kind of assess if it's a good match for the size and the operational volume, of the status quo.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that's where I would start.
Okay, so I like what I heard there. I will tell you there's one part you want to dive in a little bit more because I heard you talk
Okay.
about resources. I heard you talk
Yes.
about tools or enablers. One of the first things that you want to do is you want to dial into the scope of what they want to do. That's like the most
Okay.
important thing. It's sort of like, okay, what's current state? What's desired state?
Okay.
And when you get to desired state, what does that look like? And how do you know? How will you know when we're successful? What's your definition of success? See, these are the questions that you kind of want to ask them, and you want
Okay.
to always kind of pose it back to them. So you would say, yeah, what's your definition of success, and what does it look like? Ask them to describe it. Be very vivid. Your job as a project manager in this sense is to take the motion picture idea that people have in their head and make a
Mhm.
static picture on the wall. So people
Okay.
would come in and they would say, "Oh, wouldn't it be great if CJ, if you walked into this room and all of your lights turned on and your camera turned on, and when you looked into the camera, it scanned your eyes and it had some retina detection and it knew it was you, and so it put your name on it and it logged you in, right? That's the whole
Okay.
motion picture that people have, right? And then
Right.
okay, hold back. Okay, so what you really want is you want some sort of automated system that allows us to log in and start a meeting, right? And then from there you can ask the questions and you take that motion picture where all these things are happening and you make it into a static picture, right? Now, when you get that static picture, now you can dial into how long do we have? How long do you want to
Okay.
give it? How much money do we have, and how much money you're willing to give it, right? And that's there. And it doesn't matter if it's an agile project, a waterfall project, a lean six sigma process improvement. It all is going to come down to what kind of resources do they have, and meaning time, money, people, right? And what they want to
Mm-hmm.
accomplish. And in terms of time, money, and the job, what they want to accomplish, you can't change one without changing the other, right? I don't care if it's that, that's what we call the iron triangle or the triple
Okay.
constraints. If it's isosceles, acute, obtuse, it don't matter, right? It's going to be 180 degrees inside that triangle. So what you want to do is you want to figure out what exactly they want to accomplish, and then based on how much money they have and how much
Mm-hmm.
time they're willing to give it, then you have to ask them, what's the most important thing? Is it that we get all of this done? Is it that we do it within a specific time frame? Is it that we stay within a certain budget? And once they
Okay.
pick one, then you get the other two. And now, based on their environment, based on what they've got going on, you can choose a methodology. Whether it's going to be
Okay.
an agile methodology and you're going to use, maybe it's agile, but you're actually going to use a Kanban flow, and you're just going to
Okay.
you're going to focus on flow and focus on work going through the machine. Work in progress, and making sure you limit that. Whether it's Scrum, whether it's waterfall, either way, identify the scope, and that's the first thing, is get them to be very clear on what they're trying to do. And some key phrases that you can throw out there are
Mm-hmm.
going to be like, well, what's your definition of done, right? Because they
Okay.
might say, yeah, when you walk in the room and you look at the camera and it scans your eyes, and an old thing turns on. Okay, but when we're done, what does this look like, right? And
Okay.
what's your success criteria? How will we know when we're successful? So if you make sure that you get those things, you're going to be good. So I'm going to pause there and
Okay.
see,
Thank
because
you.
we've had, yes, you're welcome, and we're going to dig into that a little bit more. We've got a few more attendees. We've got Brian. Brian dropped, but he's back. Sofian dropped and he's back. Lyle is back. So let me see if fellas, any of you guys have anything you want to dig into right now.
Yes, CJ. Hey, it's so just
Hey,
first of all,
Sofian, how are you?
yeah, oh, good.
Good.
Thank you very much for the invite. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I really like the way you kind of presented that, CJ, and I think you're right on point. Natalie, first of all, you'll be fine, right? Let's start there. You've been successful, and I think based on what we've heard, you're gonna be successful if you get that job. But really, I think the one thing I would add, CJ, and you kind of talked
Please,
about it,
please.
it's understanding the why, right? And
Ah, good one.
the thing is, Natalie, they're hiring you for this role, but I think the team that's going to be surrounding you really need to understand why they hired you and what are they trying to accomplish. And when I say what, I don't mean what solution are we trying to build. What are they trying to accomplish? What is it? What does it mean from a business standpoint, right? They got to look at themselves from the outside in and really kind of wonder why, from the beginning, they thought, starting that initiative makes sense. And really, that definition of success, CJ, you talked about it, right? I think they got to talk about metrics, etc. And then you can really start diving into the how. And the how is really about, okay, now we will really agree that we're trying to accomplish X, Y, and Z because that's gonna save the organization X amount of dollars, or they can probably try to get more revenue down the road, whatever that it means. But really, from a business standpoint, they can then really look at, okay, now what are the solutions that can help solve that problem. And I think the mistake that most of companies really do is jumping directly into the what, right? The true definition of scope. I think scope should be a business metric, something that makes sense from the organization, but based on numbers or data that kind of backs up why we want to do that thing. But after that, I think CJ, you talked about it, right? Once they agree on the solution, it's all about execution, and the solution, or let's say the process and the model to execute, is something you can really agree with them, and you highlighted those, CJ. But at the beginning, really, the team has to agree on the why, and that's a huge step that is very critical for the success of the initiative. But also, a lot of people just miss that part and just skip it.
And is
That's a
it critical because it's how you motivate the team because you rally around the
No,
why as a motivator, or
yeah, it's a good question. It's critical because what you're trying to accomplish at the end of the day as the project manager is getting to that goal. And that goal is not a solution. That goal is something that makes sense for the business. It's really something that let's say you're at the head of Nike, right? If you launch a new line of T-shirts, that says Black Mamba or LeBron James, right? The reason why you do it is because you think you're gonna be making X amount of dollars, right? But that has to be the starting point. If 2 weeks into the project, the team realizes that the solution, those T-shirts, were not the right ones, they would all agree that another solution, which could be just purely marketing, is the right solution. But at the end of the day, it's all about the why. So I think, yes, it's going to help motivate the team, but more importantly, that's going to give you a target, something that is measurable, that's going to tell yourself and the team around you whether or not you were successful at accomplishing that task. Does that make sense?
yes.
Yeah, Natalie,
Awesome, thank you.
to piggyback on that, that was a great example, Sophion, because to piggyback on that, Natalie, 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks ago, at one of the workshops, a few weeks ago, I had another person on, and he works at a music studio, and they were looking for a new software to help manage their inventory, to manage their purchase orders, to do all of these things, right? Sort of this all encompassing ERP, and they had already tested a bunch of solutions. They had a bunch of demos, and they were there. And to them, the goal was to implement this software. And I said, well, no, that's not your goal. Your
Yeah.
goal is that you guys want to spend less time managing inventory, and you want to spend less time creating purchase orders, and you want to be able to free up your time so that you can focus on your customers and you can focus on creating music. And he was like, oh, yeah. And so I told him, I said, what you guys need to do is sit down and really understand. And I'm glad you mentioned this, Sophion. Understand your why, and that becomes your North Star in everything that you're doing, every aspect of the project, because for him, that software included different modules that you could install on top of the base software. There was
Mm-hmm.
different modifications that they could make, and the question now becomes, if whatever decisions you guys are making does not point back to that North Star, meaning it is not going to allow you to save time, it's not going to allow you to spend less time working on the software and having more time in the music studio, then it's dead weight, and you need to cut it and either decide not to do it, or it becomes very low priority. So Sophiane is
Okay.
right. Like when you understand the why, that is a big thing. I don't know though, Sophiane, and you can speak to this as a little bit better than I can. That in a role, in the interviewing process, how much would the why come up? Like if Natalie is interviewing and she needs to, they present her with a problem, um, how much is that going to come up versus like
Yeah,
us prepping her now for sort of like making sure that she gets
yeah,
in there so that she can get to the why.
yeah, and that's a very good point, right? I think at the end of the day, you're gonna be hired because they think that you may help the team execute better, right? And what they gotta understand is for you to do that, they also gotta act in such a way that they help you get there. And I think showing that you care about in the very early stage of the project that the why really matters is going to show proof to them that that is something that they may want to spend more time on, right? I think if one thing, to your point, CJ, don't spend too much time on that during the interview, uh, but just mention that it probably is going to help you be better at your job if they spend time thinking through this, as opposed to just hiring you and setting the expectation that you're not gonna talk about the why. They're already gonna give you the solution, and your role from the get go is gonna be execute. Don't no time to pause, think about the problem. Just go ahead and executing. And if that's what they want, totally fine. But I think you and Natalie showing to them that that may be a mistake, maybe a good sign, from their perspective that you know what you're talking about, right?
That's true.
So so
Wow,
so
I'm
that's
so grateful
that's
for
how I
that.
approach it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's very good. All right, Natalie, we're not done. We're gonna dig in a little bit more because they're not gonna just hit you with one question. They're gonna hit you with a couple more. But I see Lyle on, and I know Lyle wants to Lyle's always making big moves in project management, and so I want to give him an opportunity to see kind of tell us what's going on with him and what we can help him with.
You're too kind, CJ. Thank you. Put me on the hot seat here. Well,
Not
I think
hot,
I
not hot, just the Wednesday seat.
Hey, and by the way, thanks for doing this. I'm already just blown away by the high level of discussion here, and I'll be holding this spot in my calendar recurring. So appreciate it.
Oh, many thanks. All right.
Yeah. So I'll just maybe piggyback off the last question, which I thought was really great, kind of in regards to scaling, but also maybe even starting from scratch. And potentially, there's always that risk of, or at least for me, kind of feeling overwhelmed with so many things to do and kind of what to prioritize on first. And just kind of really getting off the ground and starting with a blank canvas where there's really no PMO, there's no process assets, there's no procedures in place, and engaging with, executive stakeholders or founders and things of that nature and helping them bring their vision. I really like focusing on the why. And then, if the milestone or deliverable or a task or objective doesn't contribute to that, then it's really not super important. And also, one of the things I was thinking which would help would be just breaking down and working backwards, like old school fundamentals, starting with the end state and then identifying all the requirements and possible goals and just decomposing from there. But maybe just some thoughts on that, because I tend to get overwhelmed. There's like so many
Yeah.
projects going on. There's so like it, whether it be between strategy and execution, and all the different to-dos. And so yeah, I don't know. I know I said a lot there, but thanks.
That's all good. That's all good, Lyle. So what's a challenge that you've had so far, right? Have you had any challenges with coworkers? Have any challenge with difficult customers? Maybe just a project that's complex that we can all help you out with.
Sure. I mean, it depends which can of worms you want to open. But I'll say, I've found it very challenging recently as far as like dealing with change management internally in the organization,
Okay.
with, leadership turning over and then, going through a scaling process and getting more procedures in place and just goals changing, and just kind of how to best embrace that change and stay focused on the highest value kind of activities and not get caught up in the kind of fear zone about, oh, what's going to happen in the end. Because, I found that I think we all have this idea, and it should be true that, hey, if you come in and you deliver the results, you win the contract, you make the client happy, the client loves you, you meet all your goals, that the company will reward you and you'll have like security. But
Sure.
I'm coming to find that maybe isn't always the case because of a variety of factors that might even be out of my control. So I just want to focus on continuing to improve and keeping my joy, and just like focus on the highest value stuff and not get caught up in the rocky seas of organizational reorganization.
Okay. Well, I don't know how much you want to unpack, right? I heard three things there. I heard change management. I heard sort of a recognition reward structure. And then I also heard, in ourselves, like the ability to continually, whether it's self belief or understanding our self worth. So let me start with the change management component. One of my favorites. I'm gonna hold my little cup up here. I don't even know if you're seeing this on screen, but it's called ADKAR, ADKAR. ADKAR is a change management framework, and it stands for awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement. All right, so we're not talking change management on projects, and we're not talking change-driven projects. We're talking change management with people. And if you were to look up the ADKAR models by ProScience, another one of these certification bodies like PMI or like Scrum or Scrum Org, the ADKAR model is very good at there's this method where in that ADKAR, if you could imagine a column and each letter is in a row in the first column, and then along the subsequent columns 2 to X, right? You might have a name up at the top. And so for each of those names could represent people, they could represent groups, departments, whatever it may be. And we're looking for the barrier point. And so on a scale of 1 to 5, we want to see how aware are these people of the change that's happening within an organization, right? First, there has to be some identified change. That's the first part, right? But once the change is identified, how aware are the people? And then, do they have the desire to actually make the change? And do they know how to change, right? Have we trained them up? And, do they have the ability once they've been trained, right? And then are we reinforcing that? And what you do is you can go and look and you rate from a scale of 1 to 5. And anywhere where you have a 3 or lower, that's your barrier point, and that's where you need to start. And for most organizations, it's usually somewhere within the desire, the D, or the knowledge, right? They may be aware. Oftentimes people are aware, but they have no desire to change. And so, without going too deep into that, one of the things that you just remember this: people in organizations want to know about strategy from the executives. They want to know why we're doing something, where we're going, what's going to happen. All right, they want to hear that from the executives. They want to know what's going to happen to me. What's my job going to be like? What's going to be new? They want to hear that from their direct boss, their supervisor, their manager. So it's going to be, if you're ever doing change, if you're ever looking at change management and it's affecting either your project or the organization, and you want to bring it to light and you want to help, make a change, quote unquote, find that barrier point, and then make sure that you get executive buy-in to either send the email out or speak to the organization about why we're doing what we're doing and how it's going to help the business. And then make sure that you go back and you find those managers, those supervisors, and you make sure that they speak to their teams about what is it going to mean for that person's job, what's it going to mean for their, going forward, right? And so those are just the two things, like at a very high level. If you can do that, all the other stuff will fall in place. There's much, much more to it, but that's for the change management piece. So look up AdCar, very, very, very great tool. I love it, and it works well. Then I heard sort of the reward and recognition piece, and I will say that one of the things that I personally like to do, I'm not going to say that this is right or wrong. This is now my personal feeling, and I've been successful with it. So hopefully you can take from this what you may and sort of implement it, into your world. I like to go back to those executives, those whoever I'm reporting to. Like nowadays as a consultant, yeah, I'm looking at executives, but back in the day as a PM, it may have just been the PMO director, or it may have just been manager of project managers. And what we really wanted to do, what I like to do is I like to go to those people and say, hey, what does it look like for me to be successful? What are the things that I need to do? What are 3 big things that you think I should accomplish in the next 30, 60, and 90 days? Or it could potentially be 90 days, 6 months, and a year, right? But you have some range. What are some things I need to accomplish within that time frame? And when I do accomplish it, what does success look like? Almost the same thing what we're talking about with Natalie, right? What does success look like? If I accomplish those things, and if you could identify for me, please, Mr. and Mrs. Manager, Mr. and Mrs. Supervisor, Mr. and Mrs. Director, what are some things that you see that I have opportunities to get better at, right? And you want to phrase it that way too, because oftentimes if you ask people, hey, what am I not good at? What do I suck at? What can I just get better at? They're like, oh, it's kind of negative connotation. Don't give it to you. But if you come back to them and say, hey, what are some opportunities that I have to improve upon? They'll let you know. And let them know, hey, I have thick skin. I really want to hear from you. I value what you have to say. And the most valuable thing that you can do is just listen. Just listen. Don't have any buts. Don't have any rebuttals. Even if you disagree or they're like, hey, you can get better at this. None of that. Because if not, the next time you go to them for advice, they're not going to give you the full advice. They're going to be like, oh, well, last time he got a little defensive, or maybe I hurt his feelings, or maybe he took it the wrong way. So they're not going to give it to you. So you want to just listen. And one of the most powerful things that I've also learned to do is that when someone's done speaking, even if I've heard everything, I'll actually pause for another 3 or 4 seconds. I'll pause, I'll shake my head, and I'll thank them. Because that makes people feel that they've been heard. That makes people feel that you've actually taken what they've had to say into account. So that's one of the most powerful things that you can do when people are speaking. You can either reiterate back to them which is a form of active listening, or you can take that pause and thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate that feedback. And when you do that, it's a real powerful thing, and it makes people feel good because people want to help. We all want to help others. And so when you go to them for that, that's one way. And what that does for you is it lets you know how that person views your work, how they view you as a resource, and what they think, success looks like and what you need to do in order to accomplish that. Now they've just given you the roadmap. They just gave you the roadmap, right? Now go and take that roadmap and blow it out the water and make that a consistent thing. Go back to them every whatever it may be, 3 months, 6 months. Go back to them and say, hey, we talked about that last time. I actually met all of these. I did a couple of these extra things. I don't know if those are good or not. What's your take on this? Let them speak. Okay, now that I've done this, what are the next couple things that you see that I need to do? And what does success look like? And what are some additional opportunities now that I've achieved this? What do you think the next steps are for me? And then again, pause, listen, thank them, and go and blow that roadmap out the water, rinse and repeat for the rest of your career, and allow the person that I know you, like we've known each other, this is since 15 or 16, right? So 5 or 6
Yes,
years
in a
now.
few
Yeah,
years. Yeah,
you're,
three,
you're,
four
man,
years.
you're like who you are inside, you're going to be just fine. And if you implement that strategy, I think it's going to take you places that you were already headed. You're just going to get there sooner. So,
I love it, man. Thank you. I didn't take notes, but I did put some away in that steel trap. So
all
I'll
right.
be going back to that.
No worries, no worries. We are recording here, so you'll better catch the replay. I forgot to live stream this on Facebook. I normally do that, and folks, so I'm getting these messages. Hey, you're not on Facebook. You're not streaming it, but that's okay. They can catch the replay on YouTube. So Sophian's at a high level, man. I don't know. Sophian has all the answers. I don't know if there's anything I can help Sophian with, but I'm gonna ask him anyways. What can I do for you? Because if not, we're going to be coming back to Natalie. But I know there's something. There's something I can help you with, brother.
I appreciate it, brother. Yeah, it's actually funny. I was really listening to what you said about change management. I myself just took a much bigger role. Actually, it just became official this week, so quite happy about it. But the one concern that I have was in regards to sharing the why that change was happening at an organization level to the people that I was about to lead. And it's funny because I've been setting up one-on-one with pretty much everybody. That's about
Uh-huh.
15 people, and it's funny because you try to explain, right, and you have to deal with the multiple personalities at the same time, because there are some of those employees that they've seen it, done it for like 15 years.
Right.
It's
Right.
just another org change. And you're like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, okay, it's kind of sad that you feel that way, but at the same time, you gotta respect it. And then you have the other ones that feel defensive when org changes happen because it brings uncertainty and doubt, and people kind of need to figure out how work's gonna be in the future. So
Right.
anyway, I'm definitely gonna check out that car. I gotta,
Yes.
I gotta read that thing. But no, otherwise, yeah, just in general, CJ, if you don't mind, kind of telling us, as a project manager, what do you think your role is at the end of the day? Like
Ooh.
if you, but you have to say it like in, you have 2 minutes. Like, you see what I mean?
Okay. All right. Before my 2 minute clock starts, I'm gonna tell you that I've identified four types of project managers. So can you pick one? Let me tell you the four types. Right. You have the what I call the keep the team on track, crack the whip like type project. Like I've been hired just to make sure that you guys get stuff done, and I'm on top of you all day, and I'm checking you for status every day. Right. Then you have the administrative project managers that I'm there to take meeting minutes. I'm there to collect status. I'm there to send out reports. Okay. Then you have the project manager that is very much the liaison. They work with folks outside the organization. They work with folks inside the organization. They handle a lot of communication from a lot of different places, and they pull the strings, right? But they'll have a team with them. They'll have a team that helps whether they need someone or not to crack the whip, whether or not they need someone to be administrative, they'll have a team, but they're very much a liaison. And then you have the fourth type of project manager that's more of a very high level. The best example I have of this is what they call an owner's rep in construction. These type of project managers actually can execute contracts. They can make decisions. They have power to do things that the majority of PMs don't do. Like majority of PMs don't have change power. They don't have procurement power, and they don't make decisions on quality of the products or the processes. So which project manager am I? And then I'll answer the question.
All right. Third one.
The third one. So
Yeah,
the liaison, all in and out.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So what do I
But
do? So
but
ask
but by the,
ask me your question again.
yeah. No, no. Just real quick before you get there,
Hmm.
Natalie. I think it would be very important for you to ask that question during your interview.
Ah,
Uh, because definitely the answers that you're gonna be providing back in regards to the how you're gonna be getting your job done really is gonna depend on their expectations. So anyway, thanks CJ for highlighting those four types. But yeah, then in 2 minutes, describe what at the end of the day what your role or your goal is as a project manager.
all right. I'm gonna hold myself to this because I can talk. I love to talk. So let me put on the timer here. Put on the 2 minute timer. Oh, look at that. Murphy's Law doesn't want to work to 2 minutes. We'll use the good old phone. We'll use the good old
All
phone.
right. Too bad I don't have the boxing ring here, but you can hear right now.
We're gonna use the
Ding ding
phone
ding.
right here. Phone right here. All right, in 2 minutes. What does a project manager do, taking into account the third type of project manager? So I'm a liaison. I work with folks inside and outside the organization, and I make it happen. So one of my biggest jobs is to communicate and over communicate with everybody. My job is transparency. It's to make sure that everybody knows what everybody's doing. My job is to ensure that if uh, if folks inside the organization are working on a particular task or deliverable or release, that everybody else outside the organization, outside that team, understands it. My job is also to set boundaries between internal and external to the organization, and internally within the organization, boundaries from the team, boundaries with the stakeholders, boundaries with other key stakeholders. That you have your sponsor, the people who actually pay for the project or do the work that are allowing us to have this, right? You have the team that's doing the work, and then you maybe have some key stakeholders. They could be end users, they could be other subject matter experts. But my job is to set those boundaries, and then to also gain commitments from each of those groups. Commitments for reviewing the work, commitments for providing feedback, commitments for showing up. And when I say show up, I don't mean just show up to the meeting. I mean be present. Participate. Give us yourself while you're there. And it's also my job to create a community of trust and to build up the team so that we all understand. And one of the biggest things that I can do as a project manager in that type of role is what I call 10 minus 6 equals 7.5. And let me explain what I mean. If I can get everybody to understand everybody's job and how their slice of the pie fits into the bigger whole, and if I can get a few of those people to understand even how to do a couple of the other person's jobs, then if I have a team of 10 per se, and maybe I have 6 people out, so I only have 4 people, we're not at 40% capacity, we can still run at 75%. And there goes my 2 minutes. But that's what a project manager's role is, right?
That's
Create
pretty good.
transparency, communicate to everybody, and create an environment of trust and openness.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, so Natalie, I muted you. I
Okay,
apologize.
I'm unmuted. No problem.
Okay, there you go. I had muted you earlier because there was a little bit of feedback coming in. So we talked about one of the things that you might want to ask during your interview. Um, we talked about like one of the first questions or that you want to dial into the why and uncovering scope. So now, if I'm your interviewee, is that the right word? Interviewee. If I'm interviewing
Sure.
you, if I'm your interviewer and you're the interviewee, and I said, okay, what's the first thing you would do, Natalie? Another question that I probably would ask is, um, describe, Natalie, what you would do when you need to get something done, but you're not getting support from up top? How would you handle that scenario where you're not getting the executive level support that you require?
That's a really great question, actually, because I ran into that a lot in my last role in the nonprofit sector.
Mm,
And it turned out I wasn't getting support because there was a real lack of strategic alignment between the board of directors and the executive director. So I
mm.
could actually really use some guidance here because I think I failed in that area,
Okay.
honestly.
Well, first of all, I think you're going to go so far because just having the what word am I looking for? Gumption, but that's not the right word. But I think you know where I'm going. Just being able to say, "Hey, I failed in that area," is
Mhm.
very huge. Like a lot of people aren't that open to just be able to say, "Hey, I didn't do a good job there." So okay. So Lyle, Sophian, let's help Natalie out here. So I'll start.
Eddie.
Um, I think one of the first things you can, and you just did a good job. You put it right back to me. I posed you a question like, "What would you do, CJ?" So that's good. All right. So one of the things that you can do when you're looking for executive support is, I mentioned this earlier, is you can go in and ask for their commitment because they can either not commit or they can commit. And what I mean by that is let's say the support that you're getting is pushing the team, or oftentimes it's resources. It's the team needs a new tool, or the team needs training, or we need more funding to do something, right? Oftentimes it's some resource, right? And so you just go back to that particular executive or group of executives and say, and you want to actually paint the picture. You don't want to just go and have a conversation. You want to go and you want to have some sort of data. And when I say a picture, I mean you want to have data on here's where we're at today and here's where we're going. And where we're going is not going to meet your goal if we continue down this pace. What I need is X, Y, and Z in order to elevate the team, whatever that may be, right? And I need that X, Y, and Z so that we can achieve your goal. Here's why. And you make sure you talk about current state and why current state is not going to meet desired state. And then you ask them for that commitment. So, do I have your commitment to offering these resources that we need? Whatever that means, right? Whether it's time, money, people. Do I have your commitment for this, right? And you don't have to, it doesn't have to be in those words specifically, like, can I have your commitment? But if you get what I'm saying, it's one of those things where you just need to directly go to them and say, hey, what we have today is going to get us here. You want to be here, so we need X to get us from here to there. So current state's not going to cut it. We need to get to desired state. In order to get to desired state, I need this. The team needs this. The project needs this. This is what's required. Make sure that you show them with some backed it up with data, and and one of the other things that you really want to do is tie it back. And Sophian mentioned this earlier. Tie it back to some business driver. This is going to help us eat up market share. This is going to help us go to market sooner. This is going to help us cut cost. This is going to help us be more efficient. This is going to help us, the employees save time on their jobs, right? Whatever it is, it has to go back to one of those things because that's what executives are dialed in on. How do I help my people work better? How do I cut costs? How do I increase revenue for the organization? Right? Because ultimately they have to answer to board of directors and to shareholders. And if you hold stocks or anything, you don't care about all the other stuff. You're like, where's my money? And so that's what the CEOs have. So like you have to make sure that you tie it back to one of those business drivers and then ask them for that commitment. And if they don't give the commitment, then you need to ask them to change the goal. And oftentimes we don't want to change goals. So now we really have to look internally and decide whether or not we want to change, either change the goal or commit to what's required to make this thing happen. Because when we started out on this journey in the beginning, all projects, and again, I don't care what methodology we're using, are based off assumptions and estimates. Assumptions and estimates. So there's no way that in the beginning of this project that we know for sure what it's going to look like at the end when we're assuming, we're estimating based on what we did last time and who we have and who they might still be there. It's all assumptions and estimates. So, you just got to make sure that you always bring them back down to that reality. So, Sophia and Lyle, please chime in where I've missed, where I've made a mistake, correct me, or please add in what I've left off.
Yeah, no mistake at all. I agree 100%. And one thing you mentioned, but I kind of want to emphasize on is the the fact that you guys at the end of the day, in order to be successful, need to have a partnership, right? And that
Yes.
means being equal, right? So for you to be successful at your job, they have to understand that they gotta spend time, right? You mentioned it, CJ, right? They gotta own some tasks and be accountable for that, and they gotta agree that it's gonna take them time, right? And make those commitments, right? But in order for you to be successful, you're gonna have to bring them back on track throughout the project. So, not being a project manager is not being people's bosses, right? So they gotta understand it's not because they're giving you people that you're their bosses, and those guys, right, your equal partner in that instance are your bosses, because if you look at the title, they definitely will be your bosses, right? So at the end of the day, I think you as a product manager, you're trying to put everybody equal, because some of the best ideas could come from the bottom of the organization the same way they could come from the middle or the top, but more often than not, they gotta be coming from the bottom. And unless you build that equal partnership with the people that are going to be surrounding you, they probably would be disregarding any input that you may be bringing from the bottom of the organization, right? Or at times, right, for you to be successful, you're going to be needing some information that needs to be provided to you in a timely manner, and it happens that information can only come from your manager, right? So in order for you to be successful, your manager has to say from the get-go, I will participate, but not only would I participate, I'm committing to this cause, and I will
Mm-hmm.
spend time helping you, etc. If you have that level of commitment coming from the other parties, and you feel like you've built a trusted partnership and relationship, and where everybody is equal, then you'll be successful at what you're doing. But yeah, otherwise, I agree with you, CJ. It's and the other thing is it's difficult at times to have those conversations with leadership, right? Because at the end of the day, they're the leaders in the organization. But you gotta feel confident that it's okay, and not only is it okay for you to have those conversations, it's actually required if
Yes.
you want to be successful at your job, right? It's part of your role. If you're comfortable, and you should, right, and you really gotta find a way to, then sky's the limit. You'll be great at it. So yeah, that's but otherwise, man, CJ, just yeah, nicely said. I think you covered everything.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, yeah, Natalie. It's piggyback off Sophie on be comfortable in the project manager role, because the executives aren't project managers, or else they would do it themselves. So they've hired you to lead this project down a path of success. And by you having these conversations with them, it's just totally within the scope of what you're supposed to be doing. So when you go in
Okay.
there, never feel like, oh my gosh, this executive, this and that, because you know what? At some point, they put their pants on one leg at a time, unless you're that person in that viral video that was dancing and put them both on, right? They play, right. Everybody does the same thing. They're just people. So for the most part, oh, lost my camera, but for the most part, that's what you do. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Okay. And my camera went out, but that's okay. We'll switch it up here. But yeah, just be very confident in what it is that you're doing, and I think from that standpoint, you'll be just fine. So we've got 6 minutes left, and I now want to ask you a question that I want you to answer. All right, if
Okay.
that's
Of
okay. Which
course.
is, now, Natalie, tell me about a time that you were given a task or given a job to do, and you didn't successfully execute it. How was that handled at the company? And what did you learn from that? How did you handle it? How did the company handle it? And what did you learn?
Okay. Well, recently I was, um, well, I gave myself the task because it was my role to kind of redefine and create a new communication infrastructure for this legacy nonprofit I was working for. And the reason for me that this was such a priority was because during COVID, the the school had to shut down for 3 months, and all of this 100 years worth of documentation for this organization all lived on a local server, and no one was able to work remotely. So I thought, well, then it needs to be our priority to migrate all of this documentation into the cloud, and to have, frankly, a more sophisticated communication infrastructure for storing documents, for managing our calendars, for communicating across emails and chats, and so on and so forth. Well, I gathered all of the requirements. I thought through a bunch of different tools that I thought the different teams, given their intergenerational and multicultural kind of um, composition, would be the proper approach and tools to use. And then I mapped out the planning of this project. And because the executive director was just really used to having her hands in every single aspect of decision making in the project, she kind of undermined all of my assignments and interjected herself into everybody's assignments, except she was way too busy to accomplish any of the tasks. And so she was always missing her deadlines. And eventually we just got so off course. So the first iteration was a failure. Basically, what I had, in the end, it was successful because I reoriented it so that her and I had working meetings in order to accomplish and execute her tasks. We would start the meeting out with an hour. She would kind of give me her ideas, her high level ideas, and we would scaffold. I create an outline for the rest of the execution, and then I would either execute or I would assign it to someone else who could execute it. And eventually we did it. We migrated all of the all of the files and such, and implemented new tools. But the first 6 months was really a catastrophe because I was kind of waiting for her assignments to be complete, and there was really no amount of time management or checking in on her that could get her to complete the assignments. So it was a failure, but yet it was challenging because she was my boss, and she said, "Oh no, we can't move forward until I want to be the one to do that. I want to be the one to organize SharePoint. I want to be the one to organize the archive of files." And I allowed her to be take the lead, even when I knew that it wasn't going to work out.
There it goes. That last statement is the most powerful statement. So if I'm going to give you advice on this interviewing, and Sophiana, feel free to chime in. If I'm going to give you advice on this, focus more on what you didn't do and what you did to
Okay.
rectify it versus what she did, right?
Okay.
Because although I know this is not your intent, if when you listen back to this, right, and it's good it's at the end, you
Yeah.
can just go straight to the end. It's going to sound more like you're dumping it on her, even though I
Okay.
know that's not what you're doing, right? So what you want to be able to say is something like, well, listen, the main part of the project is that the sponsor of the project had a lot of power in her role, and she wanted to take on a lot of the duties and the activities, and I sort of lacked the ability to kind of stop her from doing this. And because of that, she had so many other responsibilities with her role in the title that she held that she was not able to be able to fulfill those tasks. And I knew that, and I just didn't stop it in time. I didn't have that conversation with her. Now, eventually, when I realized it, 6 months later, I was able to rectify it. And by all means, in my account, that's a failure because it should not have taken me that long. I should have been able to help her out because she hired me, or she tasked me with the role of being the project manager. And one of the things that I need to understand is the relationship between the resources and the tasks that need to get done in order to push us to a place of success. And so you just want to make sure that you always talk about you, or
Okay.
I, and less
Yes.
about like what she did or she didn't do.
That's a great reminder. Thank you so much.
But
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think you brought it back at the end. Go ahead, Sofyan.
yeah. No, 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 no. I think you got it right there. One thing maybe I would say, Natalie, is we failed, so I failed, and
Yes.
I think that's your message, right? That's really what you're trying to share there. And I like that fight. CJ asked you, when's the last time you failed, right? And not anything else. So I appreciated you shared that story because that shows that first of all you acknowledge that you could have done better, and admitting that is kind of hard, right? But the funny thing is, as you were telling your story, it kind of made me remind myself of a project. I think it was probably a year and a half ago, and I was pretty much your boss in that situation. where I would be sitting in Teams meeting, even though I knew I had probably 60 hours of meetings a week, and I would take tasks, even though in the back of my mind I knew that there was no way on earth that I could find the time to get this done. And after listening to the team, I found out that I was doing that I was having that type of behavior, and I rectified it. So the funny thing about your story is, to your point, you could have approached it differently and talked to your boss differently, and kind of avoid the boss employee type of relationship. And I think, going back to what I shared earlier, as long as you set the expectations with those people from the beginning, you'll be fine. But it's difficult to set that expectation later on if you hadn't done it in the beginning, right? So I think if they ask you that type of question in the interview, uh, try to explain or give some ideas in regards to what you would do instead now to avoid that situation, right? I think to CJ's point in his question, at the end of the day, failure is all right. Like, we all fail every day, right? You fail and you learn, right? But the learn part is really what matters, because if that
Yes.
situation happens again, you now know how to handle it. But you gotta show that during the interview, and show the audience that if it happens again, you'll be just fine, because you know how to tackle it now. So as long as you focus on the so what, I think your answer would be great.
Natalie,
Thank you
when's your
so
when's your
much,
interview?
guys.
When's your interview?
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday. Okay. So maybe next week we'll I'll have some questions, and we can do a quick a 10-minute mock
That'd
interview for you on Wednesday. That way you're prepared
be
for Thursday.
awesome. I
All
actually
right.
already signed up for next Wednesday, so I'm so grateful for you guys. Thank you. This was invaluable, and I actually really do need it. I need the support. I've been working in the nonprofit sector and leadership for a decade, and it's very different. So I need to
Yes.
tool up, and I need mentorship.
Well, that's what we're all here for. That's why we do the Wednesday workshop, right? You're not alone. And the one thing I'll ask of everybody on the calls, I always say, we pay it forward, right? I'm here because I've been in so many different industries, and I've had a lot of gurus that have put their arm around my shoulder, and they've helped me out, and they've given me a lot of tips and tricks when I've had no business managing those projects. And so that's what I try to do, is pay it forward. And so at some point, Natalie, somebody's gonna come along, and you do the same. And at one point, my goal in all this is that we see a chief project officer one day, right? But until then, we've got to create armies and armies and armies of amazing project managers. And then, just like a chief marketing officer, a chief human resources officer, we're going to see a chief project officer one day. So hopefully that'll be you. Hopefully that will be you. So I thank you guys. I appreciate it. This is our time. I'll do my Friday follow up. I'll go back through this recording, and I'll dig a little bit deeper, and I'll teach a lesson, and you can catch that on YouTube, and then you can catch this replay on YouTube as well, and then we'll do it again next week. We'll do it every Wednesday. And quick lesson. I have a couple of new team members on my team, and today, they sent out the wrong link was sent out. Let me not say they sent out, right? Because I allowed this person to just run and not go back and check on them or do anything like that, because that's sort of my style. It's like I'm not a micromanager. But even I realize that, hey, we don't even have, there should be 5, 10 more people on this call giving you love, Natalie. And why aren't they here? Because I sent out the wrong link today, and people couldn't get here, right? So even I make mistakes still. So we all make mistakes, and that's what we learn from it, and that's why you're gonna get that role. So we'll see you next Wednesday, so that you can get this job next Thursday after your interview. So Fiona, I
Awesome.
appreciate you. All the way in another time zone. Lyle, I appreciate you as well. Um, Nothing but love for all three of you guys on this call. So thank you very much. We'll see you next week.